Hello, Self, Cosmos, Ohana, Universe, Infinity. It's Soul Dr. Nick here. This is Magic Mirror for March, I think it's the 17th. 2025, Monday. It is just around 7 a.m., so we're just about our first light right now. And this is primarily for me, but I'm going to keep the beginning parts more of the experimental new stuff in case someone does decide to watch. I've had a few that people watched quite a bit of. Definitely don't recommend sticking around to the end because it's probably gonna be a long video and it gets into my own stuff. So, but the first thing I'll start with is the importance of sunshine, first light, sunrise, listening to Jack Cruz, listening to Jerry Sargent at the Immersion Conference in Gaia, and then juicing a bunch with this lovely Nama juicer, J2 juicer, because these are some things that are happening recently that are really changing. I am drinking, this is like 1.5 liters of green juice, primarily celery, apples, cucumber, fennel, and a little bit of parsley. And it's fantastic. It's really waking me up, feeling like I'm drinking some liquid sunshine. And this weekend I probably juiced around at least 10 liters of that and at least another 6-7 liters of beet, carrot, and ginger juice. And it was easy, 2 batches, about an hour each. And I'm really grateful that I stumbled across that because it's something I'm actually using and my whole family's enjoying. So that's a piece just for your health if you're even considering juicing. Don't look at the old way of juicing, invest more up front. It was almost $1,000, like $800 if you can afford it. Oh my God, it just makes life so much easier. And knowing that I've been doing it for over a month, every day essentially, drinking juice. Now I figured out how to batch juice, so I don't have to juice every single day, which is fantastic as well. Because as much fun as it is, after a while, it still is cutting up a lot of stuff, washing a lot of stuff, and cleaning up. And it takes about an hour. I even have a little, callus on my finger from the knife. I didn't realize I was getting a blister because I was cutting up so much stuff. And this is a really nice Japanese knife I got from the Tokyo Fish Market. Really love that knife. And then I had to practice straightening the blade more because it was actually getting more beat up because I'm going through so many hard veggies. So just little things that I wouldn't have expected having started this process. Maybe this kind of food process I want to have before I even juice. Who knows? Who knows what wants to happen in the future, what process wants to happen. So that's juice. And then I just listened to a podcast on Take a Deep Breath with Jerry Callous. I think his name is that, something like that. Former physician living in El Salvador. And it's funny because he had been pointing to me many different ways, but I didn't see him until he was on this podcast about breath. And realizing and learning that breath, one of the concepts, and this is not the truth. And always I want to preface this, everything I'm saying isn't the truth. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, this is the gospel truth now, it's a universal law. But it's helping me noodle with these concepts that are different than what I'm used to. Like breath, instead of being a physical process, is an electromagnetic process. And just contemplating that, contemplating the electrons, contemplating the ability to move, not just oxygen. And I'll have to take a second listen to it. I don't want to try to explain more because it's coming from an incomplete mindset, but just that first thought there. The second is just the importance of sunrise and that spectrum of light and its effect on melanin and its effect on vitamin D, and just recognizing that supplements don't make up for the natural sunlight. Getting a light that emits something similar, whether it's the reptilian light or whether it's the red light therapy possibly, and building up that solar callus instead of looking at how do I put on sunscreen and other chemicals or sunglasses to modulate, modify, alter. And even right now I've got my blue light blockers, which helps me from waking up so much. I'm taking them off because I am actually trying to wake up right now. And then at nighttime, just trying to help me with going to sleep and recognizing that there's all strategies and tools. How do I start incorporating them? And it doesn't mean it's right, but I definitely feel a lot better when I'm having more natural sunlight and more grounded and getting back in the earth more. And that's as a reminder too, like someone like Wim Hof, he's like, you might not agree with the breathing practices, but getting out in the sun, in the light, in the cold baths, putting the body through that hormetic stress, he is amenable to. So, and then how do I create the environment, not just for myself, but for my family, especially my little one, given that up here there's a lot of artificialness. And how do I support his health? So these are different ideas, and it's listening to someone like him who has been through the medical system just like I have, and is now looking at things outside of it, and taking a look and saying critically, because he's been able to leave the practice, what is it that I really want to have? What are the freedoms that I want to have? What are the choices I want to make? He's much more clear that he has conviction, certainty about some things he's saying. I have less of that often because I realize how much things keep changing, and I recognize how much of it is a stepping stool to have new default programming. One of my default programming for myself, for sure, is I've been trying no sunscreen for, at least a couple of years now, and I have felt better with it. I rarely wear sunglasses, and I'm looking at getting these new Meta glasses, so kind of a little oxymoronic, paradoxical, but that serves multiple purposes, whether it's a little bit of blue light filtration, whether it's a little bit of sunlight blocking that needs to happen when I'm like in really bright sunlight, and whether I want to have some open air headphones so I can actually be listening to or talking in conversation while paying as full attention as I can with my son. So I'll see if this is a tool that wants to fit in the tool belt. Like right now, the tool belt really is this Insta360 Flow Pro 2 for the kind of gimbal that helps track and follow me around. Got my iPhone 16 Pro, I've got my DJI Mic Mini, and then I've got my MacBook Pro and my Kindle Scribe. And those are my main tools that I bring around with me now. Oh, I got my AirPods in my pocket that come out too. And it's so much fun having all these tools in my pocket. I also wore the sleep phones this morning and a sleep mask. So those are great things to have to transition in the daytime. So those two things. The next thing is back to the telepathy tapes. And Magic Mirror is for me. So I'm saying all these things relatively quickly, and it may seem like I'm presenting, and there's part of me that is doing that. But the bigger part is me saying it out loud so that I'm actually solidifying this into my system. Because sometimes when I first learn about something, if I don't actually say it out loud, I forget about it quite quickly. Which reminds me, there's a new kind of Cotopaxi travel bag that apparently is really good. So I'll be looking at that soon because we'll be flying more soon. All right, I'll go to the Jerry Sargent thing. I was listening to the Immersion Conference in Gaia this weekend, and I'm so grateful. Like, I was like, why am I doing this? And I stumbled across Jerry Sargent. Really cool story of a man who used to be gangster drug runner, now turning into the healing arts and stepping into creating a star magic and creating his first retreat center, which looks ridiculous if that's what it is. And has trained a number of people, is very charismatic, is talking about extraterrestrials and out-of-body experiences, and has been to Egypt many times, and someone feels like I want to learn more and follow from. And I've sent his contact to a few people just to say, hey, tune in. What do you guys think of this person? Because I want to ensure that I'm making a more informed choice. Not that I'm going to agree with everything. Like, that's the thing to remember. I'll take it most 80%, leave 20%. But I see he's got a different way of doing things that may be something I can incorporate in, and something that aligns with how my energy works and may accelerate my own path. And that's the key. Is it in alignment with how I already want to do things? Will it accelerate the path? And so I listened to a few of his podcasts already, and it sounds pretty cool. So we'll see how this goes, how this flows. And yeah, there's that piece. And then I'm contemplating going to an immersion this summer, June 18th to 20th, my dear friend Judy Brooks of Immerse Yourself. And part of it is we've done so much work together that I want to have a better footing in what it is that she does, how it runs, and see the beauty of the considerations that she makes. And so right now, just talking with my beloved and seeing, does this fit into our current timeline? There's so many timelines, so many possibilities. What is it that we want to say yes to? And then recently I've been asking some friends for some financial advice, for some wealth advice, because I'm contemplating, how do I better handle the resources that we already have? And it's been really interesting, just a reminder. It's like, hey Nick, like create it as simply as possible so you can actually do what you do and love what you do the most. And I'm like, thank you, because that's a reminder for me. I love doing this in the sense of my own self-development, and in my own self-development, guiding others. And it's not just self-development, like that's such an interesting word, right? We're all developing, but rather, is it self-actualizing? Is it awakening the inner sage? Is it going to the school of unlearning? I think that's a big part of it. Like, how do I accelerate my own unlearning? And like Bashar says, or Jael Anka, who channels Bashar, says, it's like following your highest passion. It's actually trusting that highest passion is going to lead you wherever you need to go. What is that? Hello, come on back. I just saw a little fly. I wasn't sure if it was a spider, and the spider eggs have hatched yet. That's why I had to take a look. I'm like, if the spider eggs have hatched, it'll be important to know, because there's little patches of spider eggs everywhere, and my little man would love to see them, I'm sure. I think it looks super cool. It reminds me of the book Charlotte's Web, and sometimes a little creepy and disgusting when it's happening. It happened at our outdoor furniture a few years ago when we lived in Coquitlam, and it was really kind of cool. Like they all kind of came together, and it really freaked out some people. Who else am I really listening to right now? So I got Jerry Sargent of Star Magic. I got Jack Cruz and Take a Deep Breath. I got the telepathy tapes, and Getting to the Hill, which is the place where those who have telepathy are gathering, sharing information, learning, teaching, guiding. Part of me is putting some intentions out for when I'm kind of napping, meditating, resting, to bring my consciousness and awareness to the hill. It sounds like if it is a real place, and there's still some skeptic in me for these nonverbal children or non-speech children and their ability to connect, to remote view all the stuff. And again, letting go of the active disbelief, attending the school of unlearning, being like, hey, what's the worst that can happen right now? And take a look at the risk-benefit profile. The benefit is, man, maybe I can download Kung Fu like Neo in the Matrix. Worst case scenario, maybe I'll have my consciousness stolen. But I've got such a better sense of self now. That's a piece I'm really clear on, is like, hold on. That's why I'm developing the sense of self, so I can make choices like this, so I can actually put myself out there more, so I can actually walk amongst the world more, walk amongst the extraterrestrials more. And there's a greater and greater sense that there is going to be some kind of open contact, that there is some massive changes happening, that the underpinnings of how society works is shifting drastically. And how we talk about things, as crazy as they seem, there's these kernels of truth. And people who are doing different things, whether it's quantum healing, whether it's past life regressions, whether it's talking with beings that are dead, alive, or extraterrestrial, all of these things are not just possible, but highly, highly probable. And even if I can't fully contact and connect with, there's a lot of times where I feel like the medicine is coming through me, where I'm actually connecting with the stream of consciousness, especially the stream of consciousness with those who I'm breathing and working with. And that reminds me, I'll be working with a mother today. I'm so grateful for that, because helping support mothers to feel safer in this world is one of my favorite things to do. And it's probably something one of my favorite things to do, because as much as I want to, I can do that to a certain extent for my own beloved. And that's sometimes the most challenging place, because we're so close. So by proxy, if I can do it for more of the women around, hopefully it creates this culture of being safe and being able to use those spidey senses more effectively, more efficiently. We never want to get rid of them, and I think that was part of my old pattern. Like, this is just bad, like fear, bad, like just get out of that. Versus, how do you actually harness the fear? It's an energy source. It's just another one of the energy sources. And fear and excitement are both energy sources. And if you can harness fear as much as you harness excitement, fear is probably actually, that's an interesting concept. What if fear is releasing more dopamine, just like pain is releasing more dopamine than pleasure in a way? And so you can get addicted to the pain, you can get addicted to the fear. Because the fear feels like it's driving you, like there's actually purpose, there's force, there's aliveness, until it burns things out. Because fear, unlike excitement, or that balance of fear and excitement. And that's probably the same thing with the pleasure and the pain. It's the balance of the two that creates the real sustainable flow. And that's something that Jerry Sargent was even talking about at the very end when I was listening to him, which is why he reminded me of Dr. John DeMartini about the balancing piece. And balance is not the way it used to be, where it's like you got to keep teeter-tottering between this narrow band. Rather, it's continue to notice the swings, play with the swings, and every swing, there's one or the other. And that's why this phrase I say a lot is like, in every no, there's a yes, and every yes, there's a no. In every no, there's a yes, and every yes, there's a no. And just being able to tease out the yes from the no's and the no's from the yeses. And it's recognizing, even in the work that I'm doing right now, there's been a few no's already for doing deeper work, for doing soul immersions. And sometimes like, oh my God, can't you see the yes that is there? And then recognizing now as I'm saying this, there is always a no in the yes and the no. And can I just be with that without trying to judge it, hide it, fade it, fix it? It's up to the person to be able to raise that balance out and to notice the imbalance that's there. I'm having a couple of men come over from the island this weekend. I'm super excited about helping us build stuff, but also receiving some breath, some other medicine. This Friday, I'm looking to create a little equinox event, and it may be much smaller than I think. And that's okay. That's a piece to start off with and back up into going, all right, if nobody shows up, that's okay. If everyone's tied up with New Year's events, other things, because it is kind of last minute. This is how I've been creating things versus taking a look further in the future. And part of the resistance of further in the future is like, what are we even up to? There's so much that's changing. All right, so creating this event, seeing how it goes in any way, shape, or form. And then doing the breaths that are coming up around this weekend. And then doing the events that are happening with my dear friend Judy Brooks. And continue to expand some more in-person things and expand what I'm up to. So now it looks like it's getting into first light. I'm gonna get outside for a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit noisier. Let's see here. Boop. Turning on the noise cancellation, making sure I've got my keys, which I do. I'll go out for a little bit. It'll be a little chilly. It's super foggy outside. Here, I'll just show you. That's how foggy it is. And I'll put this up top right here. It's gonna get a little bit wet, but that's okay. And so the early morning light, it helps to hit the photoreceptors, create more melanin apparently. There's receptors in the skin as well. So it's just letting myself be here. Now I'm putting on, I've got so much clothing on because it's cold. It's kind of that wet cold of the lower mainland, which is the Vancouver, Greater Vancouver, Port Moody area. And there's this mist, like I can see the gas station across the road, but that's because it's all lit up. And it's kind of cool. It's like the mountains of Moria, it feels like. And yeah, part of me is wondering like, what shows, what do I want to watch next? What movies are next? What is exciting? What feels like it wants to come alive? What do I want to be present to? One of my little guilty pleasures was watching Reacher on Amazon. I read most of those books when I stopped reading them. That was when I was still living with my dear friend Paul. I can't remember if I read them when I was dating. I think I was, but I think it was still there. I got that from my dear friend Gordy, who loved them. And yeah, it was such a fun read, like almost like this hero, anti-hero type who didn't follow the rules, did his own thing, lived a vagabond life, didn't try to fit in, didn't try to make money, didn't try to do it for fame. And it spoke to me in that way. And that's probably part of the desire for how I want to live life. Like I get to live by my own terms all the time. The thing I do want is more of the luxuries, the accoutrements, the comforts, the support. I don't want to do this on my own. That's one of the big learnings I've had, is like, why do this on my own in this lifetime? And there may be times that I actually choose to, and I do, like even this morning, I love my mornings and I'm alone. It's because every day I definitely want some of my own time, both to listen. So I listened to the podcast this morning with Jack Cruz and take a deep breath. And then I get to practice this. speaking into what I see, what I believe, what I'm thinking of, what I'm contemplating, because it's for myself. And then as well, it's a practice for beyond myself, because I recognize as I step onto more and more stages, there's gonna be more and more stuff, information in this head, and how do I distill and in real time come back to what feels like the thread I want to be on. And I'm practicing actively. That's part of the magic mirror work, is completely fucking up the threads that I'm on. It's like, what was I thinking about? What was I talking about? How did I go off topic? Is it fun going off topic? What happens when I go off topic? That's part of it, and that's my little man teaching me. Because I've sometimes thought I need to tell you how to do this, and I'm catching myself more and more going, okay, and this is actually a safety thing. I'm trying to tell you my efficiency, which takes away your ability to create an efficiency I couldn't have even imagined. And what if we're not always optimizing for time or minimum effort? What if there's another thing we could be optimizing for? And it's reminding me, like, people are telling me magical things like lying inside the pyramids and then your body turning 180, or being taken off into different otherworldly experiences. All of those things are outside of my materialistic, realistic, time-based, distance-based mind. And that's not my mind, but the patternings that I've been taught. And I've had out-of-body experiences. I've had time dilation. I've had time expansion, time contraction before. I've had periods of pure bliss where I have no idea how long I've been there for. I've collapsed. I've channeled. I've had all these altered consciousness states of being, and I've enjoyed many of them. And each one of them reminds me there's more than meets the eye. Oh, I love all these sayings, right? More than meets the eye. That's Transformers. And what if we are Transformers, right? What if we can transform into other beings? What if we can tap into other consciousness? It was reading Carlos Castaneda. Thank you, Yvonne Rados, for guiding me to that. And his whole experience on peyote of turning into a crow and seeing differently like that. And I can just imagine that still, like seeing from those eyes and having that experience. There's a part of me that's both excited to experience that possibly someday and terrified of experience that someday. And part of it is the guidance to guide me to those healers, those shamans, those facilitators that are so powerful in those realms, and recognizing that I'll be stepping into a place where I don't truly know. So really developing that sense of self and intuition, because just because they're a good healer for many doesn't mean they're a good healer for me. And just because they've been doing good doesn't mean they are still doing good for me. Because none of us are all good or all bad. And it's just like, the first time I met my dear friend Elizabeth, she's like, there's another soul attached to you. Whether that's true or not, I could feel that there's a part of me that kept giving myself up. That was the probably part. I was trying so hard to get the blessing of someone else. And even then, it was a much lower frequency of blessing than others. And even then, I was giving up so much. And so it's taking a look at what are the actual trades that I'm doing? What is the deal that I'm making without even realizing it? And sometimes the best thing to do is pay some money. And sometimes the best thing to notice is when I'm not willing to pay the money, what is that I'm not excited about? And that's part of it for the clients that are coming my way too. How are we not showcasing? How am I not showcasing things in such a way that it makes sense? That it makes such sense that someone's like, hell yes. And that's the piece, hell yes. I want to get people to hell yes or no. And part of it is developing that longitudinal container to the hell yes right now, while I kind of figure it out a little bit more, get more clear on the platforms I speak on, get more clear on the ways I connect and communicate. Getting onto podcasts. So I recorded my second podcast of this new series with my dear friend Courtney, and enjoyed that immensely, and enjoyed the practice. How do I ask the questions to get more granular, to get more personal, to get more specific? Because I realize that there's many of us, including me, who don't always answer in the granular, the specific, the personal. And what really drew me to listening to Jerry Sargent, he just got right in there. And on a podcast form, when you're meeting people new like that and you don't know who's listening, you want to get right into it, because someone is either going to want to listen because they've heard something that caught their eye, or not want to listen because they've heard something that didn't catch their eye. Much better than the generalities. Hi, yeah, I used to be a doctor and now I'm not. Like, yeah, I was trained to be a medical doctor. I burnt out. I was suicidal. And I'm so grateful that I literally almost had to kill myself in order to get here, to heal from lifelong asthma, to live a life that I never would have thought I'd live, to be having more fun than I could have ever imagined. And that was it. Like at 29, I was like, 10, 15 years from now, I'll be dead. And now I'm living my best life. And it doesn't mean that I can't die. It just means I'm living my best life right now. And it's worth it. And I've been outside for about 8 minutes now, so I'm glad. I'm gonna keep staying outside here for about another 5 to 10, let's try. Because it is getting cold. It's already cold. I'm just reminding myself that. And then we'll see about going back in for a bit before coming back out. What else is there? It's such an intersection of technology and using technology more than having it use me. I used to, and still do in some ways, want the latest thing. It's like, how do I get the latest thing just for the sake of the latest thing? And then once I get it, I'm like, it's such a deflation because I'm trying to figure out how to use it better. No, I'm trying to figure out how to capitalize on it to showcase that I have the latest thing, whether it's the latest game or anything else like that. Like I haven't even tried a game on the phone yet, which is crazy. What I have done is record a shit ton of videos, especially in the cinematic format. And then do the processing, which still takes a long friggin' time because these are long friggin' videos. And the 1 terabyte, oh my God, I've been using up so much space on this phone. It's kind of funny and ridiculous at the same time. And I'm grateful. And then using this tripod, which automatically tracks, so much fun. And I've been wanting to do more FaceTime. That I have tried to do, like more FaceTimes with it, just because I'm like, oh, I like that. And then there's the microphones. It's helping me, it's guiding me to create more content, which is awesome, not just consume more. Which reminds me right now about the playlists I'm trying to do. So I've been making playlists for all these breaths. I'm making them different, separate, and I've been less drawn to, I've been putting off making them. And I'm wondering what that's about, whether it's time to start having some more standardized ones, whether it's time to shift to the process again. And that's probably part of it. And then another part is, how do I actually take the time to deliberately look at some of the financial stuff? Because I've been putting that off over and over and over and over again. And that's probably a reminder that it's time to do that. And part of it is, how do I raise the value of it? Okay, if I actually take care of that, I spend less time thinking about the background. I give more confidence, security for not just myself, but for my family. And family is my number 2 value. First is myself, second is my family. And it is my number 1 value as well, because I'm spending less time thinking about it over and over again. It's just taken care of. And how do I automate the systems? And I'm saying all these things out loud because that's part of the DMRT methods that I've learned, is instead of trying to just push through and do something, it's actually raise the value of something. Raise it enough so then it's something that you do automatically, or I do automatically, intrinsically, because the things that I do intrinsically, awesome. And it's both practicing raising the value, and then he talks about lowering the value. It's like when the kids leave the home especially, and you get that empty nest, if you don't lower the value of the kids in your life, in my life, then it almost becomes an impediment. And I love my parents and I'm grateful they love me, but I can see that a little bit in them. And I'm grateful for it because I don't try to change as much. I recognize, because I'm like, how do I take advantage of, and I did for a long time, getting all my laundry done and everything else. And now it's only recently that we're not doing that as much, because I've got a beloved who's like, I don't want your mom doing my laundry, and I can get it, right? And I get myself, like, over and over again, I look forward to having more and more support. And part of what could be called and construed as laziness is just my ability to receive support like that. Yeah. And part of it for our home is, how do we actually start clearing out some of the stuff that we no longer need? Stuff that we don't use frequently. And that's for me especially as well. Like, I've got so many things that I don't use frequently that are still around still. And the shifting up of the toys. It's funny having a child who has so many toys and getting them, it's noticing the differences. Like, is this normal? Like, all the toys everywhere, sometimes waking up at night scared, the hungers, the snacking. One of the things these days I really would love to get some more guidance on is about the snacking and eating. And I remember that, like, from one of my favorite pediatricians, he's like, your job is to decide what and offer them food, what and when, and their decide is to choose how much and yes, or something to that effect. So I can offer the what, and then he gets to choose how much. And for me, I think it's more, I want us to stop eating as late. I am able to override it anytime I want. My son cannot. And so as we're making this transition, having some more kindness and gentleness and not trying to, like, actually, that's what I want to be, firm and kind. And it's practicing, how do I be firm and kind? Because I think yesterday I was a little bit more firm, not enough of the kindness at first. And then in the evening, at the middle of the night, probably a little too much kindness, not enough firmness. But how do I balance that out? Okay. Slowing down a little bit. Today's going to be a wunderbar day. I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. I do what I love and I love what I do. I feel to heal. Everything's a story. I always have a choice. The only constant is change. I'm just saying a few of my incantations, affirmations right now to remind myself. And then I'm going to take a look at my purpose, my love list, the 10 daily pillars of wisdom. Those are the things I do every day. And so that may get a little repetitive and boring, but if you've never seen it and you want to, you're welcome to. I'm doing these for me, primarily. Magic mirror on the wall is for me. Because I see myself, I develop myself, I practice myself. I also do this for you in a way, for whoever you is there, whether it's my generative AI, whether it's someone who wants to listen, whether it's someone who's just dove into the work, and to see the process, the unformed process. And then right now I just got some emails about different kinds of wealth management from some of my good friends. And such a reminder, you know. And I love that from Dr. DeMartini, who's worth over $100 billion. He's like, if you don't manage your wealth in terms of caring for it and loving it and treating it with respect, then it will run away. And I can see that piece. It's not that I have to obsess over it, but even just codifying it and saying, hey, I see you. And now I'm going to let it go is a wonderful thing. And how do I practice doing that in not a more efficient way, but a more conscious way? Bring consciousness to it, because that's part of it. It's like the consciousness is what organizes the fabric of reality of this body. And the consciousness can help organize the fabric of reality of, I'm going to call it my empire, if you want to call it that way. I don't think that's the right word. I felt a little pang in my gut as I said that. And I practiced saying it to feel what would come out. That's part of the magic mirror work. I'm noticing, and you're going to notice, I'm just saying the words and practicing it, rather than filtering it as much. And then noticing my brain is off somewhere else because I'm reciting an incantation or reading off something. And then just noticing when it goes away. Noticing over and over again when I abdicate the driver's seat and then keep driving. And great if I'm driving on the road and that I'm not just crashing into something when I go off in a thought. And how do I drive a road, be in a thought, and still be conscious and present with both? Like conscious and present with life. That's part of it. How do I keep coming back to the consciousness of life? And then when I want to be unconscious, to choose the unconsciousness, choose the naps. I love napping. So today I also need to get prepared for my call with my founding partner, Marika. We're looking at some operator costs today, and then getting a playlist ready for the breath I'm doing this afternoon. And then taking a look at any other messages, things to upload, things like that. I uploaded so much stuff yesterday. I uploaded probably like 30 videos. Like over probably 200 gigabytes worth of stuff. Like it was just kind of funky how much is getting created right now. How much more junk is getting created. That's sometimes what I think. It was like, I'm creating a lot of junk right now. And junk not in a bad sense, but junk just in there's so much data that's being created. And when they're calculating how much it takes for an AI to run in terms of the data center, the power, the water, it's ridiculously massive. And it's the start. How did it start with the phones and everything else like that? It becomes with something ridiculously massive, something that people are like, this is such a waste of time, energy, money, space. And it keeps reducing and reducing and reducing. And I do wonder whether how many of these ideas are truly ours or channeled or guided or facilitated by beings other than us. So, portals, dimensions, cosmic wars, battles, and fun and play. Over and over again, I'm coming back to fun and play. And I'm really grateful for all the fun and play right now. I'm just taking a look at my table to make sure there's nothing else going on. Everything's good. No one else is coming in. Just imagining my little man loves playing with bugs and centipedes and millipedes and all that stuff. And I'm glad. I remember there was a time that I used to like playing with spiders. I was fearless around them. And then I got fearful. And I think part of me is, I think I almost reject fear in some ways because I've realized how much of my life it's taken over. And so I judge others for their fear. And part of it is how to embrace the fear. Again, to alchemize that energy source into something that's useful and to transmute it when it's no longer serving. And to notice, how do I shift the values? And part of it is for me shifting the values of my fear of insects, of mess, of dirt, because my little man is currently exploring nature more and more, and I want to be part of that, and I want to create more guides, teachers, and mentors for him to step beyond what I can even imagine. One of the things I'm helping him do more now, which is actually actively hitting, using his force, using his energy, using his life force in that way, pushing. I have little doubt that someone who doesn't expect him won't get a good kick. There's a shyness about him, but there's a strength and a fierceness about him as well. And I want a little bit of both. And it's exciting, and letting go of the whole idea of most people calling him a girl, and that's okay. He does definitely, he's a pretty boy, and it's just letting it be, not needing to correct everything. And it's funny, it's the ones that are closest to me that I often correct the most. And partly it's also because they see me the most. But how do I stop doing that as much? I don't need to correct the world. There's nothing wrong with the world. It's perfect just the way it is. How do I want to exist within it is the question. Wow, I've been out here for about 20 minutes now. It is lightening up for sure. It is definitely sunrise. And as cold as I am, I've gotten more acclimatized to this. So let's stay out here a little bit longer. So random weird exercises like the tongue around the mouth. I try to do about 9 times each day. And then the idea of the breath being electromagnetic, getting more on the ground, getting the earth, conducting the different ions. And I look forward to that when it gets warmer and sunnier to do more of my work in the park, outdoors, versus here. And that's what I did last year when I was living over in Cedarbrook. I would walk over to the parks and just do my work in the mornings and have those walks and have those conversations and have those calls. I'm really glad about that, so I'm going to do more of that again. And as well, being really conscious, what do I want to have in my backpack? And having it be the minimal viable backpack that I need. And that's what I'm learning. And I've been switching backpacks. Now I just have this little tiny North Face backpack that my beloved got from her work before. I lost my train of thought, and that's excellent. Oh, that yawn was actually really delicious. That's one of the longest yawns I've had in a long time. It woke up not just my jaw, but my nose, my face, my temples, and just noticed all the tightness in all those places. One of the things that I've been working with a lot of people, especially the women, is their jaw and their cheeks, right around here. Such tension. Even I have that tension. I can feel it. and how to practice playing with letting go of that tension. I have an amazing body worker, Joni, who I'm gonna get out here again soon. I hope I can get up really soon and do some work. What else is there? What else is there right now? Taking breaths in, letting them go. Taking breaths in, letting them go. I'm getting smoother and smoother at breathing. I'm practicing every time I lie down to practice that diaphragmatic breathing again. Being like, okay, where is this diaphragm? Where are these muscles coming from? I'm working out my muscles more, stretching out, dancing, playing. I'm noticing those that I love around me are doing more random singing, getting into tunes, saying sayings, being okay with being a little more goofy, a little bit more weird. And I'd like to imagine that I'm bringing that out in those I'm closest with, because let's get a little bit more weird in this lifetime. Let me stop trying to be anything other than me in every moment, and start dancing through life more. Like, I love musicals because there's such a little grain of truth behind it. The songs, dancing through life, like, wouldn't that be amazing? And we keep getting told, no, it has to be hard work, it must be this way, it must be that way. And it's not that structure, getting shit done. Oh, trains coming across, the West Coast Express. Oh, it's a big one in the morning. Damn. It's not that getting shit done isn't a good thing. It's just, if that's all we're doing, if that's all I'm doing is actually serving anyone. If it's all structure, then it could be going down, you could be driving off a cliff not knowing you're just better at driving off a cliff. And right now, I just want to keep jumping tracks. I'm jumping tracks and jumping timelines. That whole idea I used to think of, I wanted more automation, self-driving cars, robots, flying cars, automated lights, automated blinds, all that stuff. Not that I don't want some of those things, but more and more, how do we get that in a way that feels really good? Hardwired in, less EMF, less intrusive listening. Like, that's part of it. All the devices, fucking listening all the time. And there's the Akashic Records, which is always listening as well. And now I'm doing much more of this, which is actively allowing myself to be listened to. So how many of my own secrets am I revealing? How much of my voice am I revealing? So much of it. Like, people saying, oh, I don't even answer the phone to say anything. It's like, anyone can pick up any of my videos and recreate an AI version of me. That's not going to be hard. There's going to be so much content to play with that unless I do the work to help guide people to help see beyond the limited ways we see, then we're going to get caught up. There's a train coming right now. We'll turn this so you can actually see him. See those lights in the background? Those 3 lights? Yeah. Ooh. Everything is vibrating. Everything is vibrating. All right. It's definitely good being outside. It's definitely fun being back inside now. Oh. All right. Let's see. What else is there to share? What else is there to be? What else is there to do? I'm gonna bring up my computer and start reading out some of the affirmations, the incantations, and then in a little bit I'm gonna get started on work, which means I'm gonna stop this because I'm still not practiced enough to do the work without being distracted by being the work at the same time. And so I'll be focused on the you that I see here versus the thing that I'm doing, and not good or bad. It's just that's sometimes how things go for me right now. I just want to take a look. So in the since I restarted this computer last, I have sent 300 gigabytes of data. Damn. Damn, that's a lot of data. Received 70 gigabytes, which is a lot of videos that I've been recording. So, affirmations. I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. It's going to be a wunderbar day, an awesome day. And that's, again, with the tiny habits, I want to go back to, it's going to be a wunderbar day has been one of my best tiny habits. Regular enemas, coffee enemas especially, has been fantastic, and I've slowed it down, stopped it, but every time I eat really junky food, definitely do it afterwards. Juicing now, super great habit. Sunrise, waking up at first impulse and then choosing from there. So usually myself or my cat gets me up and my body temperature changes around 2 to 3, somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. And as I do that, I actually get up out of bed at least and say, okay, now what? Even climbing back into bed is an okay option. But it's the fact that I at least get up first that makes such a big difference. Doing these magic mirror work. What else is there? Making a ceremony out of all the medicine that's there. Doing the breath that I'm doing. Eating earlier, eating the biggest meal earlier in the evening. So ideally around 5 p.m. or earlier, because it allows for that digestion, 4 hours of digestion before lying down. And getting outside so much more. So just gonna say a few of those things. I'm gonna have to start codifying it a little bit more because I've lost sight of it a little bit. I feel to heal. Everything is a story. The only constants change. I always have a choice. I'm a master reader. Whatever I read, I retain. I have a photographic, audiographic mind. Whatever is really important to me, I got for life. The universe is my playground. The world is my home. And every country is another room in the house. Gratitude, love, inspiration, enthusiasm. Feelings that help people draw money to me. I'm grateful, I'm loving, I'm inspired, I'm enthusiastic. His dream has to die in order for mine to live. The universe is waiting for me to declare my worth. If my mom was a mother I hoped she would be, I would not be the man I am proud to be today. I am magnificent just the way I am. I listen to my immortal nature, and it knows. My true nature is love and wisdom. Wisdom is the instantaneous recognition that crisis is a blessing. Life is a gift. Thank you. No matter what I have done or have not done, I am worthy of love. I am made of light. What can harm me? I am worthy of having all of my dreams come true. How is this helping me fulfill my destiny? Love is all there is. Everything else is illusion. No matter what I have done or have not done, I am worthy of love. I am worth it. I deserve to have my dreams. I deserve to take the time to focus on the infinite details to create them. I have a human will, and I'll align it with divine will and allow it to fill me, inspire me to write out each dream in a specific fashion. I see my dreams with crystal clarity. I am worthy of having my dreams come true. The pain of regret outweighs the pain of discipline. A genius listens to the guidance of the soul and obeys. I am a genius, and I apply my wisdom. I do what I love, and I love what I do. I'm a human being. I have every trait in perfect balance, and they all serve. Whatever I see is me. Whatever appears, I look for the other side, and I'm free. I take no credit and take no blame. This, too, is a lesson in love. Thank you for my skills and opportunities to participate in this world. And then I meet a sage, a wise being with a universal perspective. And what does he talk about? Eternity. He doesn't think in terms of mortal time and space. He thinks about forever. One answer to the 4 great questions is that we are stars, but love and light are equally true answers. The universe is an infinite school of unending spiritual light. We're here to learn, teach, and become our true nature, love and light. And those closest to us are our greatest teachers and students in this school of life. I look at great spans of time and see great order. In love, there is no loss. There's a vast intelligence running the world, and it is in order. So I'm just contemplating a house and having my dear friend Francis renovate it, and what it might look like to do that, and what it might like to create it as a rental property, even as a really good Airbnb, and how might that make a ton of money, a ton of cash flow, and how might that be troubling, and what are the upsides, what are the downsides. So just contemplating all those things. Death is an illusion. Life just changes form. I have a great vision, and money flows to help me fulfill it. There's nothing to fix, but much to love. Happiness and sadness are the 2 sides of fulfillment. I speak from my heart, and people listen. If 2 people are exactly the same, one of them isn't necessary. Put them on a pedestal, put them in the pit. Love them for who they are, and they become who you love. There's nothing but love, and all else is illusion. Where is God not? Gratitude is heaven. Ingratitude is hell. Everything serves, including me. Nothing is missing. It just changes form. There are no victims, just lessons in love. Forgiveness is a passing milestone on the path of love and truth. Thank you for giving me this experience. I talk to myself with the respect due a great genius. I look for the genius in everyone I meet. I link everything I do to my mission, and I am inspired by my life. I walk through the darkened doorway where fear lurks, and I turn on the light. I listen to my heart, which awakens my genius. My genius elevates me beyond my daily illusions. We're going to finish this 500-piece puzzle today. Every day in every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger. Every day I'm healthier. Every day I'm happier. Every day I'm clearer. I create my reality in every moment, in every hour, in every day. I am strength. I am love. I am joy. Make the rest of my life the best of my life. A genius is one who sees the guiding light of their soul, listens to the internal message, and obeys. I do what I love, and I love what I do. 10 daily pillars of wisdom. Inspired action, loving service, silent presence, grateful prayer, divine guidance, sharing wisdom, caring sincerely, study truths, temperate rhythm, fair exchange. Fair exchange, temperate rhythm, study truths, caring sincerely, sharing wisdom, divine guidance, grateful prayer, silent presence, loving service, inspired action. Action inspired, service loving, presence silent, prayer grateful, guidance divine, wisdom sharing, sincerely caring, truths study, rhythm temperate, exchange fair. I am a conscious leader, teacher, guide, facilitator, lover, father, husband, and I am present with each and every moment of life. I am a conscious leader, teacher, guide, facilitator, lover, father, husband, and I am present with each and every moment of life. I am a conscious leader, teacher, guide, facilitator, lover, father, husband, and I am present with each and every moment of life. Getting more fun reading these affirmations, incantations. Watching my fire, watching the light grow. And now I'm going to read some of the love lists to get more present to that. I am not still actively doing the DeMartini method, which is interesting. Share videos of the veteran, post videos on YouTube. Did not reply Mrs. Courtney, Farmers Market. I did do an enema yesterday. I did try to call Fabienne. I did message Matthew. I did message Francis. All right, so I did a few of these things. All right, 2025, 03, 17. I'm just looking at my highest priority actions right now because that's something to take a look at every day. And I'm practicing writing them down. Magic, your work, juice, drinking, and diet. Marika, values, operator, costs, Marika, call, breath, play date arranging as well. That's another thing to do. I guess I could also tell my dear friend Zen. All right, that's probably enough for right now. And then let's take a look. Whew. There's so many little things that keep coming up, and I can notice that my mind gets lost a little bit. I'm getting lost a little more frequently right now. I'm just taking a second. One of the things I'm working a lot with is grief and anger in my clients. And as I say it out loud, I'm imagining, where am I still holding on to grief and anger? Part of it, for me, will be working on the anticipated grief of the death of my parents, first of all, the death of my cat, the death of dear friends. I don't know, and I hope not, in a way, for the death of my beloved or my child before me. And it's probably a place to look at. And just noticing that pain in there, because part of it was I did a lot of work for my parents, I imagine, at least with the grief that they had of the death of their son. And so it's practicing being with that and noticing what comes up, and just noticing the tightness in my chest, a little bit of tightness, constriction around the throat, a little bit of heaviness. And part of that may help transmute some of the family lines, not just for myself, but for the future, and for my parents as well, without trying to take on their stuff, because they get to choose to have their stuff. And that's one piece of grief. And working with someone right now who has in a way lost his family, and just being with that. And then in the grief comes out the anger as well. Denial, and then bargaining, all those stages of grief. It's interesting because those are also reflective of the map of consciousness. Anger itself is a stronger, it feels like a more purposeful energy, and it can be more destructive energy in a way. It's just a more externally destructive, while grief is more internally destructive, possibly. And it's me being in touch with my own anger. It's like getting those bamboo training swords and actually starting to fight. All right. My purpose statement. Right now, this is the current version I'm working with. I, Nicholas Hogar Wong, hereby declare before myself, others, and God that my primary purpose in life is to be a soul doctor, first for myself, and then for all those around me, by teaching, serving, guiding, facilitating. And I'll do this through taking the highest priority actions every day, including taking the time for myself to explore, to do the magic mirror work, to grow, to do the DeMartini method, to practice affirmation and incantations, to look at my master life plan, to continue to hone in and be clear on what it is that I can most deliver into the world and practice delivering it. Right now, through my Ohana Sage and Ohana Breath companies with my founding partners, Marika and Matt. And eventually that will continue to expand, and I'll set up automatic systems for the intake and for the support, and for sustainable fair exchange. Also, for the auto magic savings of at least 10%, and the investings and growing of assets, and the delegation of how to manage not just the money, but also the areas of life that are my lower priority actions, and are so important and high in the values, especially those of my beloved and those I care about. I want to keep growing my biological family, as well as growing my Ohana or spiritual family, and I will also share what I learn as quickly as possible, and as thoroughly as possible, and as completely as possible, so that I contribute to the collective wisdom of the world. And I will have wealth in all 7 areas of life, already recognizing that life is perfect and I am so wealthy, and I continue to welcome and invite in more wealth and manage it as well as I can, and give it purpose and flow and clear direction, so that I can create not just for the next year, 10 years, decades, but for the generations of lifetimes to come. I do this not because I want to hold onto it all and say it's mine. Rather, I'm getting clearer and clearer on my message, and by creating more wealth, I can spread this message more clearly and really found the school of unlearning. So, as much as I don't want to create a retreat center, probably someday down the line, I'm going to actually be part of the creation, at least, of retreat centers. And just looking at how that wants to look, as we were looking at Star Magic and Jerry Sargent and his place that he's creating in Romania and Transylvania. Like, this part, it's like, oh my God, that'd be amazing to be a part of something like that. And what I really appreciate is, yeah, he's gotten a team together to do it. And my thing is not to rush to try to create it first. It's not the first thing to create. If anything, it's one of the last things to create for me. And it's a project that could keep scaling up. And he's been able to do it from the gift of, probably a big part of it's all the money he's created and all the connections he's made who've got lots of money. And reminding myself that's such a gift. And not to become or create dependence on that. If money really wanted to be raised, it could. And that's what I'm being reminded by my dear friend Brent. Like, he'll put together the proposals if they really want to be there, if there's such a clear vision. And that's it for me. More and more, it's like to keep looking at the visions, the visions, the visions, the visions, the visions. And then having clarity on it and speaking to it. Like, what is the 1,000-year legacy? what is it that I'm creating? Part of it is the school of unlearning. Really, if we can found the school of unlearning and then awakening the inner sage, it's like, how do you actually keep guiding yourself back to your own first principles of not knowing anything, of truly not knowing anything, but as well having the structure in the not knowing, and playing with all of this as well. And then how do I create it so that I both am powerful and have the humility to let people come, let people go, and hold them in close when it matters. And so I'm still getting clarity on that. I'm still working through it. There's a part of me that, it's funny, when I was younger, I was single and I did not know how to be with people, especially women. I had this savior fantasy in my head that I was going to save all these helpless women who needed saving and find some place. It was almost like one of those movies where it's like an island where you create, where everyone's in white and everyone's love and light, but then it's just me as the only man there. It's like, interesting. That's the fantasy that gets created in my mind because I didn't know how to be with other men. And it's funny because even in the fantasy, it's like, how do I be with these other women too? And for me, it's noticing more and more, it's stepping out into how to be with other men and women, even when they have completely different ideas, disagree with me, and that there's no one that actually needs to be saved. I think that's part of the trap of the medical field, or the way we've practiced healing or medicine recently, is that it feels almost like it's a savior and a saved. And I have those tendencies or those patterns at times as well. And it's reminding myself and seeing that. And it's the conscious witnessing. I appreciate those that really see me in this lifetime, that are helping me to reframe my words. Because sometimes, like, oh, I've got such a big ego. Like, I don't think that's the word I'd use. That self-deprecation is actually part of the temptation. Let's actually get clear on what it is that's going on. And that's part of this magic mirror work. If you've somehow gotten this far, which I highly doubt, I don't invite you to, then that's getting to the point where it's like, okay, there's a little bit of reflection, contemplation that way. That's why this is for me. And if I keep coming to this place over and over again, I get to sit with myself and sit with what is, sit with what's there. And then notice the breath and take a pause. So, my vocation, love list. I'm a master teacher, guide, facilitator, medicine man, traveling the world and transforming lives and studying for the most inspiring people at the edge of challenge and support. I am sought after. I impact the one as powerfully as the many, and I'm so excited when I have the opportunity to impact many people at once, and so excited when I get to impact one person at a time, and being able to impact those I most desire for the greatest effect for a more beautiful world. I am a leader of leaders, a leader of facilitators, a leader of guides, and at the same time, I'm able to keep seeking the leaders and guides that I want to seek. I attend the breakthrough experience, the trainings, the integration, and the habit-forming work that follows afterwards. The creation of a business and founding with partners, especially for Ohana Sage, and including Ohana Breath, creating milestones and practicing following through, planning, hiring, founding, creation of the team that is coming together, crafting the visions and willing the speed of my life, creating easy, lucrative, and fun ways to bring this team together, and to travel and explore in a safe and courageous and wondrous manner. To do this with gratitude, forever as inquisitive explorers, seekers of wonder, seekers of experiences, integrators of experiences, harmonizer and balancer of experiences, and finding the harmony between seeking adventure and growing the foundation to make the foundation really solid so that this can exist with or without me. It doesn't depend on me. I enhance it. I do not make it dependent on me. I generate sustainable fair exchange from this to generate the foundation of financial freedom, to know that I can create this no matter what, knowing that no matter what my asset base is, I always have the opportunity and ability to create easy, lucrative, and fun work again. I have a team that really wants to work with me, that we feel like Ohana, like family, and some may come, some may go, and many love to stay, and we get to build and deepen our relationships, deepen them through all the different ways that we work together, challenge each other at the edge of challenge and support. I have the recognition of people I admire, people I love and care about, and let go of the opinion of strangers. I have something that is sought after, something where I keep being in the highest and best, where I have all the trainings and retreats and support to move with the challenges and actually drive the next level. So what I'm recognizing in all this is more important than the retreat for me is the people that I build this with. Because that's what really makes things fun. Like surrounding myself, not just with an entourage, and with an entourage. So that show Entourage, what was really cool is they forged these bonds which lasted the test of time. And even though they broke up, they came back together, broke up, came back together. And that's part of it for me. I want to forge these relationships. Marika, Matt, my beloved, others that are really close to me, veteran right now for the work. So how do I deepen these? How do I create it so I'm not burning so much money that it's not sustainable? How do I expand in a sustainable way? And as I expand, keep expanding the buffer and the pool to make sure this works. And then how do I invest in them as well? Right? And part of it I can see is investing in them. It's like, what's the best way to actually manage the wealth is to distribute it around the people that I really love and trust. And from there, be part of their trusts and the way they want to build things and have things branch off in different ways that I can't even imagine. Instead of trying to hoard it all just for myself and one family trust with all these different layers and complexity, that's part of it, right? Like, how do I have so many people that I trust? How much do I actually have to have my own family trust? And then how do I spread it out amongst my family too, in a way that really serves all of us? And I like that reminder, no, there's no need to change the lifestyle right now. I'm living a fucking amazing life. As things change, I don't need to change the lifestyle first. It's changing the idea of saving and investing and making that automatic and automagic. Family. I am the father I want to be, a loving, fun, firm, and kind father. I am a husband, a man, a son, a brother. I'm a leader in the familial home, living at home wherever I am in the world, comfortable wherever I am in the world. It's like having the most comfortable ass in the world. Anywhere I sit is the most comfortable seat ever. I'm the kind of father who inspires others to want to be fathers, not some fantasy, but the reality. I'm learning from the children, learning from the brothers, learning from the parents, learning from the generations before and afterwards. That's the biggest thing of being in family. It's that every single person is a teacher, whether they're young or whether they're older, whether they're wiser or whether they're stupider, whether they make mistakes or they're getting it just right. I'm in play and wonder while learning. We play together as a family because that's the experience we want of living in this world. And continue to develop relationships where there's more trust, as trust is the currency we want to play with, and building that cycle of trust and noticing when the cycle of trust gets broken and resolving that as much as possible internally within our own family, rather than having to seek outside external laws. Bring it back whenever possible. I have several children who are very supported in their upbringing. I have close relationships where we spend time together and we get to see and say what our favorite things are. We get to read stories, we get to play, we get to travel together and have family vacations that are actually really fun and exciting and adventurous and new and novel. And they're not a rush or an escape. Work and play and family are so intertwined, and work and spirituality and family are so intertwined that I don't have to sacrifice one for the other. Rather, each one enhances the other. And there's a knowingness of the enhancement that everyone wants us to have all three working in union, working in sacred union, working in communion. So as I'm reading this, I'm reminding myself, I still have some things that I don't want versus being really clear on what I do want. And I think sometimes it's that certainty of being clear on what I want that I can actually let go of what I don't want because it's that clear. And the don't want are a surrogate until I figure out what I do want. I realized I don't want to be a medical doctor. I didn't know for the longest time what I did want to run towards. And it's such a more powerful force to run towards something than just to run away from something. And running away is a start. Not moving actually is a start. Not running towards something you don't want is a start. And that's a funny thing to imagine, that we're running towards things we don't want. Again, the dopamine hit. Pain over pleasure. Fear over excitement. Saying these things to remind myself. The other thing is how to actually raise a family differently without sacrificing so much, especially the mother patterning. Like, it's about sacrificing yourself versus living your life. Like, I'm seeing sometimes these Indigenous women, and they're just doing their thing, and the kids are doing their thing around them. And it's not that they don't love their child, they don't give attention to them, but they don't give them more attention than they need to have right now. And part of it, though, is because they're in tribe and community, there's always something for the child to have attention on. And now, because we're so isolated, we don't have that. That's part of the reason I believe my son keeps asking for play dates. He's like, I don't want to be by myself. I have enough time. Like, he has enough time by himself. And almost it'd be great to have so much activity around him. He's like, I actually want more time for myself. That'd be the opposite of most people in this culture right now. And not being trapped in those social circles, though. Like, that's part of it. It's the artificialness of the social circle of school that I don't like. If they were all just in the same vicinity doing their thing, that's different. But the school is like, you have to behave, act, pattern this way. All right, some things to consider, think about, just being outside. And part of it is just when outside in these public environments, it's hard because the places like the Oh My Land have such fluorescent lights and the air quality and all that stuff. And part of it for me is, how do I create an environment like that has great air quality, great lighting, great flow? And it's not easy. And part of it's the regulations too. I'm reminding myself again and again, how do we get out of here for time, spans of time, especially in the winter, because otherwise we're staying inside way too much. And staying inside means more of these LEDs, artificial lights right now. Okay. Spirit. I'm a transcendental, loving, grateful, inspired, enthusiastic, certain, and present being, and presence right now is my peace. I'm in my simplicity and grounded visions, and I'm able to be with complex materials and see the hidden order of things. I'm in the experience of words rather than the definition of words, or looking for someone else's approval of me. I choose the most meaningful courses, retreats, experiential opportunities, and continue to dive in and learn from the guides and the masters. I have channeling and transcendental experiences, loving experiences, grateful experiences, experiences of certainty, presence, and enthusiasm that I'm meant to have in this lifetime. I guide, teach, lead, and listen to each other's songs. I channel and meet extraterrestrials. I have the supporters, the family who wants to travel along this spiritual journey with me, and the loving presence that when they come, when they go, I don't have to hoard even people or experiences. Got 2 charging cables here. Gonna start charging up this gimbal, which I think is gonna be a little bit lower on battery right now. We'll see. It's about halfway. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Let's see here. All right, mental. I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. I have the mental clarity to learn from every experience, gathering and recording the most important data, and whatever is really important to me, I got for life. I know how to seek out the greatest fonts of wisdom, whether they be people, books, videos, podcasts, audio experiences, and I have the mental acuity to make the most of every experience. I'm a philosopher king, a mentalist, a mathematician. I'm known for my ability to decipher complex issues, bring simplicity to them, to not be caught up in the story behind how things happen, and inspire others to step into their own version of things. I don't always need to show the work because I am the work. I'm a voracious, inquisitive explorer, reading and consuming in ways to educate myself, also watching and listening and recording every experience and synthesizing and simplifying the most important information in the most efficient ways. I'm not just rushing to get more. Rather, I'm learning what is important to me to learn right now and applying it as quickly as possible. Because see, do, teach, as I've learned from medical school, is a wonderful process where I both learn and then I start practicing it and then I start teaching it, because in all the different aspects, there's learning and growth. I find the most efficient ways for me to do things right now and synthesize them from the already synthesized information, when that can serve as a shortcut. And I realize that everyone I learn from, I take 80%, leave 20%, or take 20% and leave 80%, whatever serves. I'm not here to fully agree with any one person in all things. I solidify the foundation by learning, teaching, and doing all at once. I am courageous enough to learn and share even from the place where I may not have full clarity right away, knowing that it keeps getting better and better and better. From this, I will have the privilege of a highly cultured life for the sake of fulfillment of this lifelong quest. I'll have stimulating conversations and be surrounded by people who actually want to have these conversations and dive in deep with love and care to guide each other to a more beautiful state of enlightenment. I have the ability to step away from those interactions that are not serving me. Thank you for that reminder. Whew. All right. Almost time to head outside again. I am a master wealth generator and creator, someone who's got the Midas touch and who spreads this freely and abundantly in ways that serve, who amplifies their voice with the wealth that's already been created and the wealth that is being created for the legacy of hundreds of years to come and many generations to come. I create and I'm supported in creating systems that automate the savings and investings of wealth, starting at least $100 a month and or 10% of the income, automatically going towards savings and investing in multiple areas, including cryptocurrencies, private placements, stock market savings, and others that we know can grow the wealth in the best way possible. Having so many trusted managers that we could spread the money around, and different trusts and structures and systems that make it as bulletproof as possible. And recognizing that regardless of what our net assets are, that we are creating the ability to generate wealth over and over again, regardless of the multiverse and regardless of the external circumstances. Finding the best teachers to learn from, different states, stories, and strategies, and having amazing managers, teachers, coaches, asset managers to guide this wealth to better places and better uses, and learning about sovereignty and trust and stepping outside of the regular system and outside of any one country that could control all the wealth. Live a life where there is so much asset generation that I can easily support my entire biological family and be able to spread it with my ohana to support amazing causes that are meaningful and investments that can supercharge and turbocharge the changes we want to see. Live a life where we can choose and play at any time, the luxuries and the conveniences and the support staff that make life even more worth living. I'm coughing more now, so I'm going to take a pause from all this. Have a beautiful day. Ciao for now.